What's up, guys? This is just saying lore, and I got some interesting information about some potential ideas for Frostpunk's DLC, some more interesting concepts for additional lore scenarios, and some new cool mechanics that a couple of the individuals within the Discord community mentioned, and I just happened to pick it up today. So, going back to a couple of things relating to the game's book of law is a bit intriguing, and this member, Panda18, came up with the idea of going back in time right before or right during the time of the evacuation in the midst of the deep freeze. Now, I find this piece of content very intriguing because this can actually shed a little light into how the different groups or bodies of people existing within London dealt with the fact that the city was collapsing and they would have to move to some other location that they were unaware of that actually existed. So let me read some of the stuff from the thing that he says. So I had an idea playing around in my head about the first chapter of the campaign. Just like the fall of Winterhome, you were able to play as the city of London itself and send out expedition teams to set up outposts and equipment to create generator towers within the Frostland region. And you would be the leader of a major city, particularly London, in the sense, and you could promote managers to represent you within these various cities while you work on the evacuation program or project. And it would also give you the ability from a lore perspective to see what it was like as major cities were falling apart. Now, just the idea, just the concept, just the thought process of this is particularly amazing to me. And I like it not because of what the individual has said, but the direction in which he's actually going with the content. Because looking back at it, there were so many radio towers surrounding the Frostland, and all of these radio towers must have had a specific purpose. They required approximately 80 to 100 code to actually operate and function properly, suggesting that a micro or some form of steam core might also be involved in the management of these facilities, along with it either being manned by an automaton or some form of expeditionary team to guide the land dreadnoughts on their way towards these generator sites. And so the element of logistics actually tying in with lore, actually tying in with completing a full circuit of the entire Frostpunk lore, background perspective, understanding, and reasoning makes it a very unique way of providing additional content in addition to testing new mechanics that can also be implemented into the endless scenario. Panda 18 has come up with one of the most amazing ideas that actually wraps around all of the content that a lot of people have been trying to figure out. What was it like during the evacuation process? We got a glimpse of this in the first part of the Make a New Home first scenario, the creation of New London, and the finding out and failing of Winterhome and the Ark refugees. All of these elements actually played in to tell various fragmented pieces of Frostpunk's lore, not giving us the actual entire concept pertaining to what exactly happened, as we had to piece through the details together to understanding. But no good story is ever straightforward, and we know that based on the books that we have read somehow, somewhere within our lifetimes. And that's just the nature and beauty of Frostpunk itself. In addition to that, I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention it again, about some crazy concepts that I actually dug up on the Steam comment section or community of Frostpunk about concepts for playable vehicles and some other mechanics about trading mechanics in particular, to increase the volume and traffic of resources being shifted between cities. This actually was tested out along with other mechanics through the creation of the Winterhome scenario. And some of the functionalities, somewhat not actually fully implemented, but somewhat actually carried over, you could actually see with the implementation of malfunctioning mechanic showing to the far right of the screen whenever you experience some form of catastrophic event during the playing of the endless scenario. So all of these elements show that they're testing out and trying to see if certain mechanics could actually work within the cities. We know that there's a population limit and some people stop spawning after a certain period of time, or if people die, or it could be a bug, either of the two, as these games are technically prone to bugs. A lot of games are, especially in the early development stage and even sometimes in late development stage. Things can somehow go wrong in certain areas, but in rare occasions that they actually occur, and the development team has to actually deal with it. So going back to what we were saying, all these new mechanics, the ability to probably see a much more well-developed and facilitated trading mechanic system developed and implemented into the Frostpunk's gameplay systems and other stuff like that, would be amazing. Thanks, Panda18. I really appreciate the comment, and I like the fact that you tagged me in it so I could actually respond to it, because I actually find your idea very cool and very inspirational in terms of creativity and willingness and need to actually see what was it like playing into what the developers themselves are actually trying to achieve, taking the humanity element or the humanistic or the human being element and integrating it into a situation and using social cues, context, norms, values, societal beliefs of you yourself as a leader to implement your leadership skills, beliefs, understandings, and views into the game in order to come up with a unique story, a unique play line, a unique view, and a unique understanding, creating an intimacy between the player and the content in which the player is interacting with. Good player enrichment and increasing the amount of content that the game itself has to offer. For a game that has managed to sell over 1 million copies and continues to do amazing things and is very unique and the first of its kind to ever exist, having multiple elements of decision making and understanding built into its framework, is very interesting, surprising, amazing, and outstanding, considering where it came from. It's usually that these innovative and creative ideas come from indie developers, which eventually then branch out into companies of their own. And it's hoped that these developers will somehow be able to keep that mechanic, keep those beliefs, keep those core understandings going. Some of the things that I've discussed and some of the things found within the Steam files have actually been looked at or joked at. For example, the loot box system or something similar to it was actually discovered by a couple players a couple months back, along with some other things and some small keynotes that they're actually looking at doing, making mention to summer, making mention to the fact that weather conditions could actually change, and some lifetime mechanical fixes and some other bug fixes and stuff like that. However, might I say, something that is actually very important and might actually be needed is that, hey guys, stop making the storm always spawn over the city. Let that thing run its own course and appear in different areas. But then again, if they do that, that could actually cause, the scouts not to be able to operate in certain areas. Oh no, let the storm move randomly in various areas. And you can use like radio towers or something similar like that to actually increase the chances of you actually being aware of a storm actually occurring. The difference engine can also be something, hey, what's up, Blood Mage? How are you doing? Did you check out the thing that I sent you in your Discord? You need to check that out. That's a little bit of data that I actually left with you and I wanted you to look at. I reached out to you, but you seemed a little bit busy. And yeah, I wanted you to check that particular thing out and let me know what you think about it. So to sum up everything that I've been talking about so far, I made mention to Panda 18's content contribution. Oh, sure, I can give you a short version of it. And so basically what happened today is that I was talking about Panda 18's contribution to the suggestion area of the 11-Bit Studios Discord. And what Panda 18 actually did was made mention to having a backstory to the lore about London and its connection to New London, Winterhome, and the refugees. In addition to that, the piece of content that I actually sent you was about some additional vehicles, playable vehicles in terms of like scouts and a snowpiercer type train, which can actually be found within the Frostland in a derelict position, but could also be revitalized into an actual vehicle. In addition to that, I also mentioned some of the mechanics that you can find in the Winterhome scenario that have somehow managed to be assimilated into the Endless scenario, and some other features that actually appeared within the Refugee scenario that can also be implemented or added onto the Endless scenario. However, they have not actually tried or made any attempts to implement these systems. So working camps could also be a system that could be implemented to allow people to stay extended periods within the Frostland and work on other cities. Now, Panda Age 18 made mention to the appointing of individuals to run cities for you, like middle managers. He also made mention to establishing other cities. He also made mention to a backstory of the lore of the cities and how that content could actually tie together to give a full rounded story about what happened before and how this led to that. Because we only got a glimpse of the actual scenario taking place within the beginning of Make a New Home, where the people actually left New London. Not New London, excuse me, sorry about that, that's an error. Where the people actually left London in order to establish New London. But we don't have a backstory as to how all the various events are actually connected together. So this particular suggestion could actually facilitate the integration of region-based play. So you can have multiple regions connected to a trade system, linking the various cities to the particular sending point or distribution point of where the land dreadnoughts were actually created, constructed, and then released into the wild. And that's basically what I've been talking about so far, and also some features relating to how these elements can connect to the Book of Law and the radio towers, and basic exploration mechanics and other features and life fixes and bugs and other things that are actually taking place at the moment. I know, right? It's a lot of content that I actually tried to go through as quickly as possible, and also paying credit to the guy that actually, made that comment and tagged me in it. And, if you come across this, thank you for tuning in, Blood Mage, and I'm looking forward to having a discussion with you very soon when you have the time to. I'm saying like the video, share it with your friends, let's have a discussion. I'm available for discussions on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's basically it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Blood Mage. Let's talk on Discord.